So for whoever just joined, we're about to start with our presentation, and we have our speakers ready. So it's a great pleasure for me to welcome Anna Karin. She's a study and career advisor, and Daniela, she's the associate professor in business administration. They are connected from Kristianstad University, Sweden, and they're here today to give us an overview of what it's like to study a master's in business in Sweden, and of course to answer all the questions that you might have. Questions about the programs, questions about the university, and anything that could be useful for you. So Anna, I leave you the floor, and we look forward to receiving all of your questions. Drop them into the chat or the Q&A. We will be monitoring those as the presentation goes. Anna, I leave you the floor.
Thank you so much. Well, let's just get the presentation from the beginning.
You were prepared.
That's what happened with those virtual events. So now we can see the map, or we're just going to put the presentation.
Yeah, we're just going to start from the beginning here. So sorry for this.
No problem.
Yeah, good. Thank
you.
Great. Yeah. So, well, my name is Anna Karin Sjödahl, and I work at the university as a study and career advisor, and I work especially with the business program here. Sweden is where we are right now. I suppose most of you know where Sweden is. It's a rather small country in the north of Europe. And we are here in the south of Sweden. It's about 1.5 hours from Copenhagen. So Copenhagen is the closest airport. So this is where we are, and it's rather cold today. It's about 5- degrees.
And snow.
And snow. So it's a typical winter day in Sweden. Let's see. Sweden is actually one of the largest countries in Europe. And what's quite specific is that we have a varied climate. So now it's winter time, so it's -degrees and snow. And here's a picture when it's summer, and this picture is taken in this part of Sweden. It's quite flat here in the south of Sweden. So what Sweden is famous for is the nature is one example. We are about 10 million people living in Sweden, so we have quite a lot of space. Especially in the north of Sweden, it's not so much people. What we are famous for is also the Nobel Prize. The ceremony for the Nobel Prize just took place a couple of days ago. And another thing that I think Sweden is quite famous for is the equality between the genders and the social security. So I think Sweden is a very equal country, and it's a big focus on equal rights for all people. That's very important for us. So now we're moving towards Kristianstad. Kristianstad is quite a small city in the south of Sweden. It has about 35,000 inhabitants. So this picture is taken in the city center. That's the small river. And this is also one of the buildings in the city center. It's a hotel. And we're quite close to the beach, actually. It takes about 20 minutes to go from the city center to the beach. So we have very nice beaches, although the water is a bit cold for me as well. But it's really nice. And we have accommodation for international students. We have accommodation in the city center and also close to the beach. The university has one campus, and it's about 5 minutes from the city centers by bus. We have about 14,000 students totally, and we are located in a UNESCO designated biosphere reserve, Kristianstad has a lot of water, so it's actually built on water. So there's a lot of research on the water and water management. So if you are a student from outside of Europe, you will have to pay tuition fees, which is 110,000 Swedish kronor for 1 year. But if you are students from Europe, it's free to study in Sweden. And for the living costs, it's about almost 9,000 Swedish kronor per month that you need to have secured in order to get your visa. We have accommodation for all our international students, and it's guaranteed if you apply on time. And one question that we often get is if you're allowed to work in Sweden, and yes, you are. If you have a residence permit for studies, you can also work. And you can also, after you finished your studies, you can stay in Sweden for another year and look for work. So that's also part of the residence permit. So this is a picture of the university. It used to be an old regiment, which you can see from the buildings. They were about 100 years old, and the whole campus is quite small. So it's a couple 100 meters from one part of the campus to the other. And this building is the central building. It's the building where the vice chancellor and the whole management of the university is. So this is a quote from a former student that is an alumni from our master program. And this is also a view from the university. So this building is where we have the library and also a coffee shop and the reception of the university. So this is a picture from the summertime where you can sit outside and have your lunch and just meet other students. This is another quote from also a former student from master program. So we have two international master programs in business that we offer in English. One is the master program which with the focus on international business and marketing, and the other program has a focus on auditing and control. Both programs are one-year master programs, and the academic year starts at the end of August and it runs until mid-January, and then the spring semester starts mid-January and ends in the beginning of June. So this is a picture from I think a couple of years ago when we had lots of snow. This is also a picture of the campus area. So the application for university admission in Sweden is done centrally. So you have to click into the website University Admissions, and there you will find lots of information. And this is also the place where you do the application. And it's open now, and it closes in January 16. And this is the time when you must have applied, and you must upload your transcript and your other documents. And you must also pay a fee, application fee, and the deadline for this is on February 1st. And then if you have applied on time, you will receive your admission result at the end of March. So we have an earlier application deadline for the international students, just to make sure that you get your visa on time. What's also specific about our master programs is that we have guaranteed place. And this means that if you fulfill the requirements that we have, there's a guaranteed place for you. So here you can see the requirements for the different master programs. So you have to have finished your Bachelor of Science, and then you must also have studied statistics and have a thesis. And then there's a different requirements for the different master programs. But there's a guaranteed place if you fulfill the requirements, which is a really good thing, I think. A question that we get a lot is about scholarships. And Swedish Institute, they offer scholarships, which are very, very good. They don't offer just scholarships for the tuition fee, but you also get scholarships for your living costs. So this means it's almost free to study in Sweden. You don't have to pay anything for yourself. So these scholarships are really good. The university has also our own scholarships that you can apply for. They are just for the tuition fees, so they don't include the living costs. So, but they're quite a good number of students that receive those scholarships. And there's also other scholarships which I have included in this link, so that you can look for if it's good for your situation. We have just finished an alumni survey for which was for the students that studied the program from 2015 until 2019. And the survey shows that 100% of the respondees have a permanent employment today. So this is a really good succession rate. So we are very happy to read this. So this is a picture of former alumni from the university. So please let me know if you have any questions about the university or about studying in Sweden, or if there are anything else that you need to know. And I really look forward to seeing some of you next autumn. So should we have any questions now, or should we wait until the next presentation?
Maybe we could wait for the next presentation, yeah. But in the meantime, it was actually great, Hannah, you mentioned about scholarships, because some of the students were actually mentioning about scholarships. There are also some questions about the admission requirements, so maybe I will leave it to Daniela for the presentation, and then we're going to answer them all at the end. So you can see more students joined, which is great.
Perfect. Yeah.
So keep writing the questions.
Yeah, very good. And I would say in the time I switch from one presentation to the other, this picture is very nice, because this is how we look at the students, laughing, smiling, happy, engaged. That is what we want and strive for all the time. So now I have unshared Anna-Karin's presentation, and I will try to share mine. Let's see. Federica, you are the police, so you check that everything is working, right?
Perfect. Let me see. So we can see the presentation, and now we should be also seeing in a second in full screen. And so just waiting to be in presentation mode.
Because I have it in presentation mode.
So we can see it, but not full screen.
Now?
Now it's perfect. And meantime, thanks for your question. Keep writing them. We'll make sure to answer them at the end of this part of the presentation. And Daniela, everything looks great. I leave you the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. So for those who have just connected, my name is Daniela Argento. I work here at Kristianstad University, and I am an associate professor in business administration with a focus on management control and accounting. And Anna-Karin showed before two quotes of former students. One student was saying, if you study here, you have a taste of the real world. And the other student wrote in an evaluation, oh, the teachers here help you to develop your independent thinking. And this is what we really like to read and to hear from our students. But how do we achieve this? How do we manage this? Well, we offer in our master programs two tracks, two directions. One is called auditing and control, and the other one is called international business and marketing. So here I will give you a brief overview of these two master programs, and I really hope that you will find yourself happy to join one of those next year. So the first one that I illustrate is called Master Program in Business Administration with a specialization in auditing and control. So what is this master program giving you? Well, a deeper knowledge in the field of auditing and control. So surely the students who apply and participate in such master programs are those that like accounting, like figures, are interested in control and auditing. And obviously, we speak also of financial management. And interesting for us is that we don't only look at specifically the industry or the private sector, but we also have a focus on the public sector, so government and other organizations. Our courses are based both on practical case studies, so practical knowledge, but also current research. So the teachers that are involved in this track also conduct their own research and reinforce their teaching through the knowledge that they have gained through research and presenting so practical cases. For us, such type of focus on both research and practice creates opportunities for the students who graduate with us to work in the industry, accounting industry, but not only, and also in academia. So if you want, you could also be prepared to start a PhD program afterwards. Then we have another master program, the other track that I mentioned before, the specialization in international business and marketing. This program gives you all the skills and competences and the knowledge that is necessary to work in the field of international business and marketing. And obviously, when you hear international business and marketing, you immediately think of possibilities of working in multinational or national companies, both in Sweden and abroad. And the idea of this program is to create a multicultural learning environment, which actually prepares the students to work in international teams. And I would say that international teams are relevant also for this program, obviously, which has this international focus, but also for the accounting and auditing and control track, so the former one, because internationalization is becoming the key ingredient of every workplace. And therefore, if you read this master program in international business and marketing, you can expect to find employment in many possible firms, industries, or also professional organizations. So it has happened that students reading this program also ended up in the auditing industry and the other way around. Plenty of opportunities. I show you here a picture. And I challenge you, do you recognize one person there standing in the first line? It's me in a summer dress. This was the day when we celebrated this class that had concluded the master program. And you see both the international business marketing and the auditing and control students. It was early June. 2 years ago, we were happy to be together because it was still the period of the pandemic. But the point is, you can see that it's really a multicultural, international environment where we have both Swedish and also international students. What does the master program look like? So if you see, we have divided the autumn semester from the spring semester, and you can see that both groups, so both international business marketing and auditing and control students, both start together and read the course that opens the master year, which is called Customer Perspective and Value Creating Processes. Then you see a code, FE812A, and it could change, students, but just you know that every course has a code here, and given that we are orderly, we show it also on this slide. Yes, after reading this course, which lasts 5 weeks and it's 7.5 credits, you move on all together, so both groups, into another course, which is called Strategy and Management Control. I am the queen of that course.
That's the best course of the program, right?
Yes, yes, yes. This is what the students say all the time. Yes. But the point, why do both programs read the same courses in the beginning? Because these two courses give an overall understanding of how organizations work, and it gives both an insight of what the other programs can expect. Then, after the second course, which also lasts 5 weeks and is worth 7.5 credits, the two tracks get divided. And you can see on the green, where we have the text in green, the courses that are read by the international business and marketing students. So we have industrial marketing, international business, which closes the autumn session, and then the spring session, which starts in middle of January or so, treats the course corporate ethics and sustainability. On the other side, where is let's say the text in purple, which is my favorite color, it's the courses read by the students that are specializing instead in auditing and control. And there you see the course Advanced Accounting and Reporting. So there we dig deeper into both financial and non-financial accounting. Therefore, there is international accounting standard for the public sector and private sector, but also sustainability reporting. Then there is the course called Auditing in Theory. So we dig deeper into auditing, and that is how we close the autumn semester. And then the spring semester starts with a course called Corporate Governance. Once the classes have read these courses, which are key to the specialization that they have chosen, the groups reunite again and read a course called Advanced Research Methods in Business Administration. This course is a method course where students get advanced knowledge in research methods, both qualitative and quantitative methods. And why do they read this course? Because this is important knowledge that is needed in order to write the master thesis. And you can see that for both tracks, there is a specific course for the master thesis in which then the students conclude the master year by writing a dissertation with a specific topic that suits their interest, their curiosity, but also, of course, the specialization that they are reading. We would like to tell you also that our master programs have a strong focus on sustainability. Kristianstad University is part of Prime Champions, and this is why we have this roll-up behind us. Prime stands for Principle for Responsible Management Education. And it's an initiative of the United Nations Global Compact. And this means that in our courses, we always have in mind that we are shaping future managers that should be guided by sustainability and corporate social responsibility ideas. So this means that also we care for the Sustainable Development Goals, the so-called SDGs from the United Nations, and you can see there the 17 goals represented in the slide. How do we do that? How do we integrate this interest for sustainability and the SDGs in our education, in our master program? Well, we have the entire first semester devoted to specific knowledge that we provide the students with. So each course has a component, has a part that is called a business ethics track, in which different topics also related to ethical issues are discussed in connection to real organizations, corporations, institutions. And we want the students to become aware and have an understanding and also practical knowledge about business ethics. And how do we develop this practical knowledge? Well, we have a business ethics track, as I said, that runs throughout all the courses of the first semester, so the autumn semester students. And this track includes a work placement, which means that the students are collaborating with an external partner, that can be in the private sector, in the public sector, even in the non-profit sector. Over the years, we have had many partners, even an archaeological site. So you can imagine, from an audit firm to an international logistic company to a local archaeological site, which is a non-profit organization. And our message is that every type of organization, big, small, public, private sector, has concerns related to sustainability and ethics. And this is an opportunity for you who read our master programs to delve and to learn more from the case organization, from the partner that will be coupled to you. So you will run a project that is connected to the SDGs that are relevant, so sustainable development goals and sustainable development issues that are relevant for this organization. You will develop a project in which you dig deeper into a potential problem, how it could be solved, and how it can be treated also from the academic perspective. For us, it's important that you have this connection with practice, like through this work placement. We teachers, we also provide you with case studies, stimulate you to know more about empirics, but also we are interested in the scientific side so that we keep a high quality level. And this is why we start actually the master program, we can say with a week in advance, with this, what we have called the introduction week. So before the actual semester starts, we have this introduction week in which all the students that are registered are welcome to attend. And we have different themes that we cover, different topics that we cover in this introduction week. Well, we are interested in explaining to you a little bit more about teamwork, because here in Sweden, working in teams is very important, and we embrace at our university the principle of working together, notwithstanding our background, where we come from, or what we want to be when we grow up. But also, it's very important to introduce you to academic writing. So we have workshops and meetings where you learn more about referencing, for instance. And you can see in this slide that Anna-Karin has very kindly prepared, APA style. What does APA stand for? It's the American Psychological Association style of referencing, which means that when you write a text, you need to be able to refer to proper sources in order to avoid falling into the trap of plagiarism. So plagiarism, references, how to write properly, how to feel confident, how to master academic writing, and also intercultural communication, as we said before, being in teams of fantastic people from different backgrounds and history and so on. So these are the things that we like to cover in the introduction week. And we say, this is for you, to you, from us, together, and it's very appreciated. In the next picture, in the next slide, you can have an idea of the teachers that are involved. I think we introduced, or we have the picture, the image of, or let's say, of the teacher who is responsible for the respective course, but there are many more teachers. So you can see this now, you should know the first one here, Daniela Argento, it's me. Then we have Giuseppe Grossi, professor in accounting. Jens Hultman, professor in marketing, Christian Koch, who is a senior lecturer in marketing and is actually responsible for coordinating the master programs, the two tracks. Then we have Gert Paulsson, who is also involved into strategy and management control as an associate professor, Maria Bengtsson, who is a senior lecturer with specialization in financial accounting and auditing. Karin Alm, who is actually responsible for this business ethic track and represents Kristianstad University in the Prime Champions Network. What is special about us? What is the message that we really would like to convey apart from the specifics of the courses? Well, we are a university that likes to integrate theory and practice. As we said before, we like to have a high scientific quality and standard, but also close connection to practice. And that is something that we are recognized for. But it's not only this close connection to the work life that we like to have. It's also, and especially, the close relationship between the students and the faculty. So when we describe our programs, we always say that the closeness, the engagement, and the openness are keywords for us. And indeed, the doors of our teaching staff are always open for our students. And this is not a metaphor or something else. It's actually true. So Anna-Karin said, it's a small campus. It's not a big city. We hold together. That is something that characterizes us. And here, this sentence in the green box says that by the time you leave, you will be well prepared for a professional career and your future. If you are interested to know more about academia and university, then you can surely learn about our culture and also how we live here in Sweden. I recommend it. I mean, I'm not a native Swedish citizen, but I have liked it so much that I don't move anywhere else. But also, obviously, you will gain knowledge about the specialization that you choose, either the international marketing or more auditing and accounting, but also you will grow as a person and make friends for your life. So thank you very much for listening. And I really hope together with Anna-Karin to see you next year. I'm getting emotional because the presentation is almost over and I would keep going forever. But I think, Federica, if there are questions or comments, then
absolutely,
please let us know.
There are questions. Sharing. So yes. So you did an amazing job. And I mean, it's very hard usually to summarize the programs, the university, give that vibe, but you did a great job, and lots of questions actually we started to receive. One out of all of them is about the course. Is it going to be held in English, in Swedish, and do you actually need to learn the language in order to move, live, and study in Sweden? This was one of the first questions that we received.
Well, the whole program, both of the master programs are taught in English. So everything is in English, the lectures, the exams, everything. So you really don't need to learn any Swedish before you come, and not while you live here, because, I mean, every Swedish person knows English. I mean, so in Sweden you learn to speak English when you're about 9. So it's not a problem if you don't speak Swedish.
No, and I can also say that I mean, I have been working here for 12 years and I've started to learn Swedish after 6 years, only because my daughter was in school and I needed to integrate with the parents. But for working reason, English works very well. But yes, the official language of the master programs is English, both for the lectures and the examinations and also the instructions. The syllabus of the courses exist in both languages, in English and in Swedish, because still this is a Swedish university, so we must have all information in Swedish as a matter of transparency, to respect the state that finances us, but everything is in English and we want to have this international audience, so absolutely.
And also all the information on the website University Admission is in English. So there's all the information that you need is available in English. Yeah.
Many thanks. Questions about admission requirements. So going to be a little bit more specific. There is Frank, who is asking us requirement for the program in auditing and control. And overall, one of the questions they were asking us in terms of requirement is mainly if you require an English proficiency test, even if, for example, they've studied in English, or maybe if English is their first language. So what's the procedure for this? What sort of tests you actually also accept?
Well, the most common one is the IELTS test. So that's it's accepted. I think they also, I'm not an expert in this, but I think they also accept TOEFL and Cambridge. And also I think if your bachelor education has been totally taught in English, then that's fine as well. So what the students need to upload is the transcript and the degree, diploma, and the passport and the English certificates. But you don't need to upload a CV. You don't need to upload a personal letter. You don't need to upload any other document. So it's quite easy, the admission process.
And whenever they put an application through, when they can expect to hear back from you, from the team?
Well, if you apply on time, if you apply before January 16th, you will get your admission results on March 30th. So that's when you get the admission. And if you apply, sometimes we have, it's still possible to apply later than 16th of January, but then your admission result will also be a bit delayed. So it's always good to apply on time. That's my tip.
Perfect. And there is also a little bit of time, so as you can see, there is a month ahead, reason why we wanted to schedule this webinar now, so you have enough time to gather all your information. Anna, you mentioned a transcript. We have a couple of students asking about background. So for example, my bachelor wasn't in a business related. There is, in this case, we have someone that says, I have a bachelor degree in textile engineering. Am I still eligible for one of the two master programs?
I think for being certain, we would need to check the documents. But if I would guess, I would say, unfortunately not, because you need to have the background in business administration to have the theoretical foundation in business. So I would say probably not, but it's difficult to say something specific when you don't see the documents. But you need to have the academic background in business administration, actually, really. So and some have say that they have worked for 5 years or something, but you need the theoretical background. So it's often not enough just to have worked in this area, unfortunately.
So I guess each application then will be per se. So ideally there would be in terms of background.
And if they want to, I mean, my email address is in the presentation. If they want to, they can send me an email and I can reply them individually. So that's fine.
Perfect.
And students, Anna-Karin is always very kind and very quick. So if I would say that if you are interested, exploit the opportunity to get this feedback, so you know.
Yeah, I can't say for certain, but I could say that most certainly yes, or most certainly no. So it would give you an idea. Yeah,
amazing. Then we had a couple of students that were asking about the recording of the session. Yes, the webinar is recorded and we're going to share it with you. And actually, Anna and Daniela were very kind and they're also going to share with you the presentation. So as Daniela mentioned, really take the opportunity. As you can see, the team is very much approachable. So please follow up. And if you have any question, feel free to reach out. A couple of questions. One was from Davide and a similar one was from Nazir, asking about if there would be a sort of an interview to understand which program suits me best. In this case, for example, I have a bachelor in business administration with a major subject in HR. Would there be someone that could guide me towards the best option in terms of the master?
I think the best option is to send me an email, and then we can talk about it, and I can check the transcript and I could see. Of course, I mean, it's always the student's interest. If the student is interested in a specific master program, because they are different. So I think the student's interest is the main focus. But send me an email and then I can always give you some feedback.
And I think they apply for one track immediately, right?
Yeah.
So the decision is made at the beginning, even if you read some courses together, but the decision is made. So we already know from day one, okay, you are an international marketing student or you are an auditing and control student.
And often you don't fulfill the requirements for both programs because they are different and the requirements are different. So often you fulfill one of those.
Perfect. So you mentioned January as a deadline, but Jawad has a question about when is the start date? So in case, I would be admitted, how long then do I have to plan, let's say, about moving? And if there will be, let's say, an office that could support in terms of like visa, bank statement, policy, someone they can ask all these questions.
Well, the start of the program is at the end of August. It's in week 35. I don't have the date, but it's usually around the 29th, the 30th of August. And then we also have the introduction week that we told you about. It's the week before the semester. It's not mandatory, but we strongly advise to join the introduction week. So in around 20th of August would be really good if you could be in Sweden. We have an international office and we also have an admissions office, and they can help you with the documents that you need for the visa and the process. So, and also questions about accommodation. So, and the introduction week is done together with our international office. So they get the academic introduction as well as the more practical introduction.
Yes, and surely the academic is the funnest part, not the other one.
Thank you. David is asking, so GPA, so we mentioned transcript, we mentioned the academic background. Do you have any standard for the GPA? If I have a lower 2.1, can I still apply?
As this is the good part about the guaranteed place. So if you fulfill the requirements, you have a guaranteed place. Then we don't bother with the GPAs or your standards. So if you have the degree document, if you fulfill the requirements, then everything is fine.
Question from Stefano asking, what do you look in an application? So overall, what makes a student stand out? And then you mentioned sustainability. Is it something that is covered in both programs?
Yeah, the sustainability track is in both programs, but you needn't have studied sustainability before. So there's no requirements for that from your bachelor. So is that answer to your question?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is covered. And in terms of what do you look in an application overall? So what makes an application stand out?
I think the most important thing is that you fulfill the requirements, that you have the right background. I think that's the most important thing. Yeah. So that's what we're looking for.
The master program builds upon some basic knowledge. So if the student don't possess this knowledge, and if there is no bachelor that certifies this type of knowledge, we don't dare to accept a student, because it could be counterproductive for the student himself or herself coming here, and we build up and we don't have the grounds, then this is why we need the students to have read some courses, have some knowledge, know what we're talking about, so that we can take the next step. But when it comes to sustainability, it's like Anna-Karin said, we start with introducing what is sustainability, corporate social responsibility, sustainable development. Why do we speak about the SDGs? And then we go through it by working with this external partner, which could be from different sectors, as I said before. And the students develop a project in teams together among students, with supervisor in the academic sphere and the external partner. So it's this type of collaboration. But that is a process of learning, that it doesn't matter how much you knew before. If you know, even more welcome. But on the basic knowledge of, if I speak about the accounting track, we cannot speak about higher accounting standards if the students have no knowledge about accounting. Just to give an example, not speak of strategy and management control if the students don't have any idea about what a financial statement is. Now I'm going into maybe two details, but it's important that some knowledge exists there so we can move on, which is the purpose of the masters.
Perfect. And then, for example, there was someone else that says, I actually done my bachelor in telecommunication engineering, but then I switched into business. I also published some research on communication and business. So in this case, should I attach those to the admission letter or my application, basically?
Yeah, if you have any other documents that could be useful, you could just upload them when you apply. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
And in case someone, for example, has a different bachelor degree, but still wants to take some credit, for example, at the university into business, would this still be valid, or has to be the bachelor in terms of the full credits?
In order to be admitted to the master program, you have to have finished your bachelor. There's no other way to be admitted to a master program in Sweden. You have to have finished your bachelor. It's not enough to have studied 1 or 2 years. It has to be a finished degree. Yeah, a full degree. Yeah.
Francesco is asking if those masters are full-time, if you also have the option to study part-time, and if you can work while studying.
The studies are full-time. Yeah. And in Sweden, we have a different system. You study one course at a time, which is different than many other countries. So you study one course for 5 weeks, full-time, and then you finish that, and then you start a new course. So that's quite a different system to many other countries. It's possible to work on your spare time.
But we don't want to know.
But we don't want to know about that. And I don't think you should work too much. Some hours per week, fine, but you should be aware that there are full-time studies, and you're supposed to work 40 hours a week for your studies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and here's Daniela, the teacher speaks, and on that point, I'm always rather serious, because we design courses in which we expect students to work full-time on the course, which means like 5 days a week, 8 hours every day, so 40 hours every week, and the system that we have is that you read the course and get examined on the course throughout. So it is possible that you start the course week 1 and you already have a first examination in week 2, and that second examination in week 4, and then in the 5th week you have the final examination. So you can understand that it is read, learn, apply, show, perform, and go on. And if you miss a piece in this process, it could become more challenging to finish in time. So then up to the students, to the participants to decide, but we expect full-time studies.
We have a couple of questions, someone that connected later about scholarships. Now, I don't know if they are from a European country or outside, so maybe if we can just say a couple of words about the different options that students might have.
Yeah, there's one option offered by the Swedish Institute, The link is in my presentation. That's valid not for non-European students, for a lot of countries, not all countries. And with this scholarship, you get funding for the tuition fees, but also for living costs. So it's a really good scholarships. And the university has also our own scholarships that we offer for the tuition fees. So, and if you apply, you will also get information how to apply for the scholarships.
Amazing. Before you mentioned that all the course will be taught in English, and actually you don't need any other language in order to study. But someone was asking, just out of curiosity, how long it takes to learn Swedish, and if you actually needed to live there, maybe.
Daniela, how long does it take?
Well, since
I think it was easy.
Yeah, since I have a German background, it's not that difficult to learn Swedish. But let's say to live here, you don't need to learn Swedish. I think it's, but then that's also a personal thing. I like languages and I like to integrate. So it depends on what you want to achieve in your life. Some students come here, read the program for 1 year, and then they want to go back to their country to bring back the knowledge and the experience and to give back to their own country what they have learned. So then probably investing in learning the language is not the most appropriate choice, especially if you interact with other students who come from other countries. So English is the common language. Other students instead have other ambitions and say, no, I really like it here. I would like to establish myself here. So then I would say, then invest in the language, because it's obviously speaking the language of the place helps with the full integration. So it depends a little bit on what the plan of the students is. I said, when I arrived, I had no clue that I would love Sweden as I do. So I did not invest in the language and focus on my career development, which is in English. And then I thought, no, now I have a daughter, I have school friends coming over, so Swedish is important for me. So it depends. But not, I would say, not an immediate requirement. So if you come here, think of studying, learning, and then you sense what it is that you want to do.
Amazing. Another question is regarding the teaching approach. So asking if it's going to be practical, if they're going to work on business cases and practical work, or if it's more like a theoretical approach.
It's a mixture. We do a little bit of everything, and then it is also the teachers have also different styles. I sometimes even sing in the classroom, but obviously this is not for everybody. And now as we say, we have this practical work placement with the case company, which means that you have to know about the case that you are working with. And I can give you the example of the strategy and management control course that I teach, that I'm responsible for. There, I pretend you to know more and not only the theoretical aspects of strategy or what a balanced scorecard could be rather than a budget, but look at the case that you have. Is there a type of formalized control? What type of information system do they have? Are they digitalized? Are they not? So work with the case organization and bring practical knowledge, but with an academic taste all the time. So it's a blending of things, and also this is the nice thing of our place, that we experiment and are flexible. So maybe 1 year the advanced accounting course and reporting course focuses more on auditing in international context, and maybe some other years it focuses more on other aspects, depending also on what is relevant in the moment. Last year, with all the pandemic, we have focused a lot about emergencies. Maybe next year there will be the post-war effects that could be an interesting topic. So we see also what is relevant.
But I think also the teaching style in Sweden is quite different from many other countries.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just lecturing.
No,
I think we expect the students to be active during the courses, to question things, to argue, not to just sit and listen. I think that's
Yes.
quite specific for Sweden to have the interactive classroom
Yes.
instead of the traditional just listening. So I think that's important.
Yes, thank you for remarking that. I take it for granted, but this is really a key feature.
Exactly, because at the beginning of the webinar, we saw students actually connected from different parts of the world, and it's very different approach. So it's very good actually to mention. So we're coming towards the end of our presentation. Of course,
Already?
but if you have any question, drop them into the chat, into the Q&A. We're still connected, but meantime, I wanted to thank, of course, Anna-Karin and Daniela for your time, for the presentation, all of you for being connected. And I wanted to ask, so we mentioned January 16th as the deadline for the application. If there is anything else that you wanted to share with us tonight before closing the session.
I think that if you have any questions, send me an email, and if I can't answer myself, I will ask some of my colleagues. And we look forward to meeting with you. Hopefully, the pandemic will not return, so everything will be normal next year. So we're really looking forward to meeting students with different backgrounds and with from different countries and from different cultural belongings. So it's been a pleasure being here and meeting all of you online. So yeah.
And my message is try to enjoy life every day as much as you can.
This is actually a great note to close. So thank you all for being connected. As you can see, both Daniela and Anna-Karin are very much approachable. So really make the most out of this event. We're going to follow up with the recording of the event. We're going to share with you Anna-Karin's email. So in case you have any doubt, because you might come from a different background, but you also took some credits into business management. So, if you're interested, don't be afraid of ask, to be the right person that can actually tell you if you're suitable for the program and maybe address you to the right master program that is suitable for your background. So thank you so much for your time, for being connected, and we look forward to seeing you soon at the next live event, or perhaps if you put an application through, I really hope that you get to meet Anna-Karin and Daniela in person. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.